Morning students, I am your SSC teacher Mrs. Manju Sharma, and today we will start chapter 2nd, class 7th in history. The name of chapter is New Kings and Kingdoms. As we read in our first chapter that historians divided history into three parts: ancient history, medieval history and modern history. In this class we will learn about medieval period and historical divided this history into two parts. The first one, 8th century to 12th century, is called the early medieval period, and the second, 13th century to 18th century, as the later medieval period. In the early medieval period, we study about Cholas, Palas, Rashtrakutas, and Rajputs as powerful dynasties. So, students, we will learn these kingdoms in this chapter. As we learnt, the medieval period saw large scale changes in society in the last time. As population grew and people started to travel for food, water, and trade, they came across smaller and different regions. Those who had the power and support waged war, and thus newer and more kingdoms emerged. As we know, that Indian subcontinent was a huge landmass and people were not aware of the extent and variety of cultures that exist. The jungles, mountains, rivers, and seas prevented free movement, and means of navigation were few. Those who ventured out and found suitable areas established new kingdoms or expanded their existing ones, especially after the demise of King Harsha, who was a ruler of vast territories. The kingdom started splitting into smaller dominions and become weak without a central control. The subordinates of the kings were earlier big landlords or warriors chiefs and were known as samantas. They were required to govern smaller portions of a king. With the time of samantas amassed lots of wealth and power, they started to deceive their kings to become independent. Those who gained independence declared themselves as Maha Samantas. A famous example of this is the case of Dante Durga, a Rashtrakuta chief. Now, we will learn about the Rashtrakuta dynasty. This dynasty ruled areas of the Deccan for about 3 centuries, 7th to 10th century CE. In the middle of the 8th century, they had the areas of South, Gujarat, Maharashtra, parts of Madhya Pradesh, and Karnataka. Under their rule, the worship of Shiva and Vishnu became very popular. The major achievements of the rule of this dynasty were as follows: the construction of temples came up in the big way, local self government played an important role, trade and commerce flourished. There were development in the fields of economics, and the area grew in wealth and prosperity. Some Arab travelers described the Rashtrakuta as one of the best rulers of the world. The last ruler, Karka II of the Rashtrakuta dynasty, was defeated by the Cholakya king in the 973 CE. Now, the Gurjara and Pratiharas dynasty, we will study about this. The dynasty of Gurjara Pratiharas is known to have been in power from 725 CE to 10,040 CE. They ruled over parts of Punjab, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, and Madhya Pradesh. Kannauj, on the banks of the Ganga in Uttar Pradesh, was their capital city. The important rulers of this dynasty were Nagabhatta, Vatsraja, Nagabhatta II, Mihir Bhoja, Mahendrapala, and Rajyapala. The Pratiharas received a severe blow in 10,019 CE when they were attacked and defeated by the forces of Muhammad Ghazni, and the dynasty came to an end, and the new dynasty came to know as the Palas. The Palas established their kingdom in Bengal in the 18th century CE, and it lasted for about 4 centuries. The dynasty was founded by King Gopala, and his capital was at Patliputra in modern day Bihar. The dynasty had 17 kings, and the famous ones are Dharampala and Devpala. This kingdom included parts of Assam, Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha. The power of the Palas received a blow in the middle of the 12th century. 12th century at the hands of Vijayasena, the founder of the Sena dynasty. Lakshman Sena, another ruler of the Sena dynasty, was defeated by a Turkish invader named Bakhtiyar Khilji. The three-party struggle, Gurjara, Pratiharas, Rashtrakuta and Palas. As we know that the Gurjara, Pratiharas, Rashtrakuta and Palas were very powerful kingdom, and the three dynasties of the early medieval period, the Gurjara, Pratiharas, Rashtrakuta and Palas, fought with each other to acquire control over Kannauj. Kannauj was considered a hub of power on the fertile plains of the northern India. It was an important center and trade and agricultural flourished in the area. The three dynasties kept fighting with each other to gain this prestigious area. As there were three dynasties fighting amongst each other, it got the name of three-party struggle. The real power passed into the hands of the Chandels, the Chauhans, the Parmars, and other dynasties, all of whom are considered to the Rajputs. So the power passed to Rajput after the Gurjara, Pratiharas, Rashtrakuta and Palas. The Rajputs were considered as the sons of rulers. They were known as be of two descents. First is the sun and the second moon, gods, and they called Suryavanshi and Chandravanshi respectively. The Chauhans, earlier known as the Chahamans, were the feudal lords during the rule of Pratiharas. They established their kingdom first in Ajmer in the 11th century and later acquired control over Delhi. Prithviraj Chauhan was the most famous ruler of this dynasty. He fought two battles at Tarai, now in Haryana, with Muhammad Ghori. The Battle of Tarai. There were two battles of Tarai. The first battle at Tarai took place in 1191. Prithviraj united some Rajput kingdom to face Muhammad Ghori. Unfortunately, Jaichand, the ruler of Kannauj, did not join the confederation in the battle. Ghori was wounded and defeated, which caused his army to flee. The second battle of Tarai was fought in 1192. Muhammad Ghori attacked the kingdom of Prithviraj Chauhan again with the motive of revenge and to establish control over India. This time he had organized a better cavalry and army. Prithviraj again formed a confederation, but this time Jaichand, instead of joining the battle from the side of Rajput, is said to have helped Ghori. Ultimately, Prithviraj was captured and slain. The loss in the Battle of Tarai by the Rajput is considered as the turning point of the destiny of India. Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni ruled over India after the death of Prithviraj Chauhan. Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni of Afghanistan ruled from 1997 CE to 1030 CE. Muhammad of Ghazni attacked the subcontinent 17 times in search of wealth. He repeated successful attacks show how Indian kings were very weak and indefensible. Sultan Muhammad was a patron of art and culture, as well as even in those he established a library in his domain. Now we will know about the administration of the kingdoms in early medieval period. The kings were thought to be gifted with divine qualities. They assumed titles like Maharaj, Adhiraj, Parmeshwara. These terms meant Lord or God. Kingship was hereditary. They enjoyed unlimited powers. They took upon the role of judges in case of disputes. They appointed council of ministers to help them. Officials were appointed to look after the law and order and collect revenue. Villages were the smallest unit of administration. In cities, there were local committees to look after the affairs of the cities. How was the revenue system in those times? The king needed money to finance them, administrative employees, and maintain the army, and to work for the welfare of the society. Construction of forts, palaces, and temples. Money collected was at time given away as rewards to selected people. And what was the revenue collection system? The various ways of collecting money were as follows. Farmers were required to give a part of their earning in crops or its value to the king. Other people, like the traders, the artisans, were also required to give a tax in kind or cash to the king. At time, the king collected peculiar and wage taxes, like tax for using of a ladder by the peasant, the use of cart, thatching of houses, and so on. So, students, we have studied about the various kingdom of this early medieval period in this chapter. This period was of growth, development, and prosperity, but also had its share of conflict and divide. We will read about the later medieval period later in our following chapters. Goodbye.